Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 4 of Kovani Speaks. This is my newly launched podcast and I will be bringing on some trailblazing women to share their experiences on breaking barriers and turning pain into power. So today's incredible guest is a boss babe of South Africa. Let's start there. Bohlale Palile is joining us, and she's the founder of Get Corporate Ready, a platform which teaches corporate professionals the importance of taking charge of their careers. She has also worked in the HR space as an award-winning HR professional. And the other thing that's really important here is that she's worked for many top organizations, including Standard Bank, Investec, and Bowman. So, she's got a wealth of experience. I'm really, really excited to have you on the show. Thank you for honoring the invite. And I think this is going to be, an incredible conversation that we're going to be having. But let's just start a little bit about, your earlier days, your earlier childhood days. How did it all start for you? Where did it start?
Thanks, Kovani. I think firstly, just thanks for the opportunity. I think this is a fantastic platform that you've created and much needed as well. So in a nutshell, Bohlale, born and raised in Joburg. So I'm a Joburg girl, grew up in Soweto for a little bit of my childhood, and then ended up growing up in the West Rand for the better part of my childhood. So from the time I was in grade 1, I went to a Model C school all the way up until matric and kind of continued through there. Very, very lucky and blessed to have been born into a family of mom, dad, the oldest of 4 siblings. And so lots of pressure and responsibility on me, but that I think has really groomed me into being the person I am today.
Yes. I've been watching your journey over the past few months, creating this space, this platform for women to own their space, for women to break barriers, and supporting careers. How did that journey come about for you?
I think it's really a journey of discovery, Kovani. I think sometimes we like the idea of, I'm going to set out and do my career and I need to have it figured out. I need to know exactly what it is I'm going to do with my career. And we kind of feel flustered when we don't. But I think I really stumbled across the career that I've had, the 13-year career that I've had, which, yes, in the HR space, but really specializing in the graduate recruitment development side of things. Now, for me, a role is really about, I don't work for the sake of working. I think I've always just known that. Yes. I think if it was up to me, I wouldn't have gone into corporate at all, right? I wanted to kind of be in the travel industry and do those kinds of things. But as parents would have it, would kind of like channel you back into being in corporate. And I think corporate is a space for you to discover more about yourself. When I started at Investec, that's where I really got a good sense of what graduate recruitment was about, because that was kind of my first proper corporate career.
Right.
And that exposure was what really kind of lit a fire in me around helping young people navigate the space in corporate. So having had a 13-year career doing that, that's really kind of what's built up Get Corporate Ready as an organization, to say that, each organization I've been in, I've had to only ever focus on the kids that are coming into that organization. And I said, how many of our youth are out there that don't know this information, that are not privy to this information? Why not create a platform that is open to everyone, that anyone can gain this kind of information? Because I really think that having that level of mentorship in your career, especially early in your career, really helps you carve out the right types of steps that you should be taking in your career. So that's pretty much how Get Corporate Ready got started and where the passion comes from.
Oh, that's powerful. I've been watching a lot of your content and, you're sharing real life tips. You're sharing the how to do it. And I think there's just such a need for, especially young professionals entering spaces, and we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. And I think just, creating the tools for young professionals to succeed in whichever environments they find themselves in.
Definitely. And, I've also realized, Kovani, and I'm glad that I've spent this time in corporate, you can give a young person all the tools necessary, but really what's going to shape corporate South Africa is also being able to give those tips and lessons to the people that are in corporate. As you'll know, being in corporate, there's multi-generations in any corporate space. And the way things were done 10, 20 years ago is not what's going to be done now, and is not how you look after your staff now. It's not how you remunerate your staff now. It's not what people that are coming in now are not looking for the same things.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So the tips that I give is really to help arm you as an individual to learn to take ownership of your own career. A lot of people go into their careers and everything about whether the career is working or not working hinges on what the organization can do for them, right? Oh, I'm not growing as fast as I want to because the organization doesn't have the right types of, training or learning and development initiatives that are going to arm me. Oh, I'm not able to get promoted because this person did. And I hear that, I acknowledge it, because those things are maybe true in your space, but at the crux of it, what are you doing about it? Right? The organization is not there to mold around what Buhlale wants.
Yes.
It's not going to mold around what Kovini wants. It's not going to mold around what Tabo wants, right? So the organization is there to create a platform for you to come in and make use of what they have. You need to actually make use of the what's been given to you in the organization, whether it be through people, whether it be through resources, whether it be through different platforms that they make available. Make use of that. You make that call. You make that decision. So that's why I've chosen to focus mostly on people taking ownership, because I think you drive your own career and you need to make the critical calls sometimes.
I love that. I love the fact that we own the power to change what happens to us. It sort of gives us a bit more control, I think, from a mindset perspective.
Definitely.
And I know that you've ventured into full-time career coaching at this point. Come highly recommended. A lot of my friends have used your services and have the best things to say. What are some of the tips that you can share with our community, just in terms of, growing a personal brand? And, I think the biggest thing is having a presence in whichever spaces you find yourselves. And what are some of those general tips that you can share with our community?
So I think for anyone in their careers, whether they're entrepreneurial careers or corporate careers, right? I think it's so important as women to make it a point to be intentional around building your personal brand, right? Building a personal brand is you taking ownership of yourself, of your career, of your network, of who knows you, how they know you, right? And building a personal brand for yourself allows you to not be reliant on anyone but the work that you've put into yourself, right? So whether that be in the form of personal development, how are you growing yourself from a mindset perspective? What are the things that you are learning? What's the constant kind of learning that you're doing just for yourself? But also, what do you want to be known for? Ask yourself that, right? I think a lot of times we fall into the trap of living day by day, existing day by day. You just wake up, you do the same thing over and over. You wake up 5 years later and you wonder, why have I not moved from point A to point B? Because there's no strategy to moving to point B, right? So if you're at point A now, what does point B look like? How can I start taking steps towards point B so that when I wake up 5 years from now, I'm already at point B, making my way to point C. So building a personal brand is absolutely critical. Secondly, like I said, personal development, right? So taking the ownership to actually develop yourself. But I think finally, use the skills and strengths that you have to craft something that's uniquely you. So building a personal brand is not about trying to emulate someone else. It's not trying to be like anyone else. It's about saying, what do I love doing? What is my skill set? What am I good at doing? What can I do without, counting the hours, right? Yes. So when you know what that is, those are your strengths. Those are your unique gifts. That's what makes you you. And if you start crafting your personal brand according to that, it allows you that when you are standing up on stage, you're not like anyone else. Why? Because you've gone internally to look at what are my strengths, what are my skill sets, what is it that I want to bring to the world, and then you're crafting a brand around that.
Oh, that is so powerful. I want to move now to breaking barriers and changing narratives, which is what Boss Babes of South Africa, is founded on.
Right.
And just to hear your thoughts on, some of the barriers that you've had to break as a woman of color, to navigate different spaces, and also to achieve the type of success that you have today.
Great question, because I think we don't often speak about the barriers that we have to go through in order to be where we are now, right? So 2 things come to mind that I think were very pivotal in my career. The first one was learning to set boundaries, especially if you're an overachiever, right? So I'm very much someone that is, I wouldn't necessarily say A-type. I think A-type, those are people with lists and color-coded things, and I'm not that extreme, but I take my work seriously, right? And when you're starting out your career and you take your work that seriously, you tend to overextend yourself a lot more than you should be, but you're doing it out of love and passion for what you do, and you're wanting to really put your best foot forward. Yes. Now, very early in my career, I had to learn to set boundaries, which meant I had to learn to go back to my team and say, listen, I'm working from morning until 9 p.m. every single night. The rest of the team leaves at 5:30 or whatever time it is. And in that time, I'm not looking after myself, right? Yes. So mental health became quite a big issue early in my career. And I had to learn to have that difficult conversation and not feel like I am, I have to succumb to whatever this is, right? Oh, well, that's work and this is what I have to do. So the first thing was being able to go back and say, can we just have a discussion around my role? I'm a junior in the team. I'm paid like a junior in the team. I work really long hours because I want to, and I want to do a really good job. But it's coming at the cost of my mental health. And I think we really need to be able to scale back and say, let me do what I need to do based on what I'm paid for.
I love that.
So that was the first boundary. And to do that when you are quite young in your career takes a lot of guts, right? Because you're always thinking, I might lose my job for being able to say this, or they may not take it lightly. They may think I'm wanting to slack, and that's never really the case, right? So having that difficult conversation was important for me. And secondly, and lastly, it was very important for me as I continued to grow in my career to learn to have courageous conversations.
Wow.
Right? There's some things that you'll be asked to do as you continue in your career that don't align with who you are, that don't align with your values, that you don't agree with, right? And never be fearful of what that means.
This is hitting me hard, guys. This is hitting me really hard because, and I'll tell you why. I've had a challenging 2023.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to share the full details of it, but the one thing I did do that I'm very proud of myself is that I took steps to speak up about what it was that I was not comfortable with.
Yes.
And the type of bravery that has taken.
Sure.
Coming from a small town, having stereotypes thrown at you, firstly as a woman of color, what you must say, the tone in which you must say things. I just had to block out the noise, really, and speak my truth.
That's it.
Speak things that were not aligning with me.
Yeah.
Speak things about that were difficult things. But I guess the fact that I've done that, I'm proud of myself, number one.
Well done.
And number two, I'm also aware of the fact that I'm not just doing this for myself.
Yes.
I'm doing it to create more inclusive spaces for those that come after me.
That's right.
To break barriers for those who come after me. And for me, that is the core of who I am.
Yeah.
I'm really all about transformative change. You know this.
I love that.
And I think in finding our power and our bravery, you risk a lot. But the one thing that I will not risk is my soul.
There we go. There we go. That's the most important thing. You've hit the nail on the head. Because too often we risk so much of who we are just to conform. And we are not made to conform. Yeah. We're made to shine in all of our brilliance, in who we are, in what we bring. And people will respect you for that. They may never tell you, but they'll respect you for having made that call, for having spoken up, for having made a decision that's true to you.
Wow. I've just felt so much of peace. I can't explain it. The journey ahead of me is uncertain.
Yes.
But I do believe that, when you speak your truth, you align with things that are really meant for you.
Agreed.
You align with people, you align with spaces. And that's my faith and that's my hope.
Yeah.
Going into 2024.
Definitely. And you've built a phenomenal personal brand, right? So let's take time to acknowledge the work that you've done. And I've said this to you before, where I'm like, Coveney, you've got a phenomenal brand. You've built it across different platforms. You've built a personal brand around women, around breaking barriers, around owning your space as a woman. And you have so much going for you. So I'm so looking forward to your 2024. I think there's massive, massive plans ahead for you. And you just need to own it and know that space is made for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's waiting for you to take it up.
I needed that today, guys. This is a soul calling. But talk to us a little bit more about, owning your power. I think it's we hear it all the time. In the beginning, I would just say it. But what does it really mean? How does one start to own their power? Where do you start? Especially if you're a young, individual, you're heading into a particular environment. I must say it's easier said than done. So how do we actually leverage everything around us to own our power as women?
So I think, to your point, it is difficult when you are still young. Owning your power, for me, has meant more in my later years in corporate than in the beginning, because I felt in the beginning I was still trying to find myself,
and
right?
People please, right?
And people please, right? And so you don't know as you get into corporate what it is you want to do. Do you want to do it long term? Who are the people that you make friends with? Who don't you? Who do you leverage off of? Do you need a mentor? So there's a lot of uncertainty in the beginning. And I think at the beginning of your corporate career, it's so important for you to just keep making the kinds of decisions that feel right to you, right? So that, I think, when you are younger, start kind of going according to the things that feel right. Don't shy away from hardship. Don't shy away from working hard. But do more of what just feels right, stuff that you love doing, right, as you're discovering yourself. But I think later on, for me, what owning my power has meant is trusting myself.
Sure.
That for me this year has been the most massive lesson I've had, because your inner self always speaks to you. You know when something feels uncomfortable, right?
You literally feel it here, right?
You feel it in your gut. You can feel the energy, and it doesn't take a lot. Some people tend to feel, but how do I know? How do I trust myself? You just need to walk into a room with people and you can feel their energy and you know whether you want to be there or not. It's that instinctive, right? And so even as you're journeying through your life and your career, when things start feeling like they're not aligning with who you are, stop, ask yourself, why? What's going on? Why do I feel this way? Why is my body reacting in this way? But like I said earlier, because we're so conditioned to just waking up, doing the thing, coming back, waking up, doing the thing, coming back, we never stop to ask, how am I feeling? Right? And so that for me is the beginning of owning your power. You need to know what your power is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can't own something that you don't know. But how do you start knowing what your power is? Start listening to yourself. Start trusting your gut. Start trusting your intuition. And then as you start doing that, fear is going to start creeping in. It always happens, right? You start thinking of all these different reasons why you have to shut that down. Worst case scenario is the thing that you go to. And you start thinking of all the reasons why you should shut down your inner self. But that's the opportunity for you to actually say, no, I'm not listening to fear. I need to actually follow the guidance internally. And once I started doing that this year, things that are just unexpected have just fallen into place. Why? Because my inner self has guided me towards a certain space and I chose to listen.
Sure.
So that for me is what owning your power looks like a little bit later, once you found yourself, once you know who you are, once you know what you're about. That's what it looks like. But like I said, early in your career, follow the guide of what you love doing. Don't continue doing something you don't enjoy doing over and over and over and over until you become numb, really, to what it is you love doing, right? So follow that guidance all the time.
Oh, that is absolutely powerful. So what are some of the challenges that, the women of South Africa are facing, just based on the cases that you deal with, the people that you mentor, that you coach, that you support? What are some of the key themes you think, we need to work towards, we need to improve as corporate South Africa?
To be honest, a lot of the people that come to me their main question is, who am I meant to be?
Sure.
They're trying to really discover them, right? And unpacking that. What does that look like? And so I think people are getting closer and closer to understanding the importance of aligning with who they are, right? Because I think if you look at previous generations, our parents, they'd go to a job, stick with the job for 30, 40 years until they retire, and that was it.
Correct.
But that was the norm then. Now, people want meaningful work. People want purposeful work.
Correct.
Right? And people want to be doing things that align more with who they are, with their lifestyle, with the roles that they play, whether they're a wife, they're a mom, they're a caregiver. You want your life to feel meaningful. And I think this has really significantly changed post-COVID, that people are starting to ask the question, why? Like, what am I meant to be doing? How do I align myself with that? So I think that's been absolutely critical. And I think corporate South Africa needs to really start creating spaces for people to just explore more of themselves, right? I think corporate SA has become very rigid. You've got a job profile. You do exactly what your job profile tells you to do.
And
you
sometimes
don't come
more, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes more, right? More that's given to you, but not more of what you want to explore of yourself. I remember actually being in one of the organizations that I was in, and I said, I feel like I've given as much as I can in this current portfolio. I want to stay in the organization. Help me navigate spaces that are going to allow me to do more of what I love to do that still gives value to the organization, right? So I'm not saying I don't want this job, I want to leave immediately. I'm saying I love my job, I want to grow. How can I grow where it makes sense for me, but still adds value for you? And breaking through the mold of, but this is your job, but if you grow, but then what does that mean? Like, do you want to take on a completely different job? Okay, but if you take on this job, but then you don't have the qualifications for it, so how are you going to, so you're going to start at the bottom again? Are you, it's like we live in an era where people are doing side hustles, where people are building their own kind of side gigs, where people are freelancing. People are interested in doing more of what they love doing. So as corporate South Africa, I feel like create the space for people to explore more things, even if you create like project-based work that people can tap into. I could be in IT, but interested in something that's happening in the finance tech space. Let me tap into that. I don't have to work in the finance space for me to be able to tap into that, right? So allow people to grow organically in terms of what their interests are, is something that I think corporate SA is lacking. But I think as for women, sure. There's so much. We're so complex, right? In the sense of who we are, owning our power, most of corporate SA being predominantly white still and male still. So I think women really struggle more in the mid to senior levels in terms of really kind of being given the right opportunities, being given the right, the opportunity to speak up. And not just speak up, but be heard.
Oh, that is so powerful. Because often you're speaking.
Yeah.
But you're not being heard. You're not being seen.
Yes.
Your opinion doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
I think that's the seat at the table that we all want. But, when you brought to that table,
You heard.
be heard. Sure.
You heard. Like, actually take interest in what the person is saying. Take it on board. If you don't agree with it, have the conversation about why you don't agree. Let's actually unpack it, right? We should no longer continue to be people that are just tick box exercises for corporates. We need more, we need more females in the top level. We need more females in senior levels. And therefore, let's just kind of, who can we bring into that space? It's not about bringing us into the space. It's about creating an inclusive space so that we feel like the value we add, we actually belong to the space. Do you know what I mean? But once again, I think it goes back to owning your power as a woman. You need to own your power, and where you can see that those spaces are not created for you, you need to be able to take a stand for it. Whether you speak up, whether you decide this is not working for me, do something. Don't wait for the organization to do it for you. It's not going to happen. You need to break those barriers yourself.
I think the silence is just something that a lot of women talk to me about. And, on this platform that I've created, it's just I get DMs about, fear stopping women from speaking up, going through the most, being bullied, being harassed, not being treated with respect. It's a complex environment.
It's very complex. It's very, very complex. I've experienced all the things you speak about.
Okay.
All of them.
And how did you maneuver through those situations? Let's start with bullying and harassment.
Bullying.
How?
I think people tend to think that as a black woman, all you're there to do at work is to put food on the table, right? You just want a job so that you can earn money. And so you'll do anything we tell you to do, because at the end of the day, the most important thing to use your paycheck so that you can feed your family and provide an ABCD. They don't look at you as an individual professional that has their own goals, their own dreams, their own visions of where they are growing as a professional and the value that they want to add. And so the first thing for me when it came to the bullying kind of situation I was in, letting them know that I'm not who they think I am.
Sure.
Yeah? Don't for 1 second think that I'm going to crumble under you bullying me. It's not going to work. We're here to have a constructive conversation as adults.
Correct.
These are my views. I've got a right to share my views. You may not like it, and that's okay. But let's have the constructive conversation. I will not, because you're bullying me, just decide to sign on the dotted line or just decide to make that decision because you want me to make that decision. It doesn't align with who I am.
Correct.
So bullying situations, I put my foot down. I don't care how their eyes open up. Yeah. I don't care how the shock of like, are you going against
doing this?
What I'm telling you to do this, We must start humanizing people. People are there as human beings. People are there as individuals that have their own goals, their own careers. They're not there as resources. Stop looking at people as just resources to execute on stuff.
And stop stereotyping women.
And don't stereotype. Yeah. Don't stereotype. And that's why I think the biggest misconception is that we're there to feed our families. The assumptions that you've got kids, you've got family, you're a caregiver. And therefore you'll do whatever it takes to make sure you're maintaining that monthly paycheck.
Not anymore.
Nope.
Not anymore.
Nope.
We have voices. We're going to use our voices.
Definitely.
We have social media platforms. Those are created to make it better for those around us, those that come after us. I think it's a complex sort of situation because being bullied at the time that it's happening to you, it's very difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It is.
To see clearly, to think clearly.
Yes.
I'm just surprised in 2023 that we're still having these conversations about leaders being bullied, about women being bullied, about women of color not being treated with the level of respect that comes with having certain qualifications.
Yes. And just treated equally. Treat me like I'm your peer. Don't speak down at me like I'm someone that's 4 levels below you. I'm your peer. So just because I'm a woman of color doesn't mean that you relate me to whoever else that you associate.
Yes, that's in your daily life,
That's in your daily life.
Yes. I think that's very,
you know what I'm trying
very
to say.
powerful. And I think we need to be having more of these transformative conversations where we're not afraid to share our lived experiences, because there's always fear around, you sharing your lived experience, and you're going to put certain person or certain company into disrepute. At the end of the day, my personal, view is that you own your lived experience. You own what has happened to you. You own the pain. And I think, that's something that I want to break through because we all have a story inside of us.
Of course.
And when that time is right, it's actually your mandate and your purpose to share that and to have people learn from that.
Yes.
Because often what we share on social media is not the sort of worst things that we're going through behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's often, airbrush pretty pictures of us traveling and seeing things, edited pictures. But behind the scenes, what someone could be going through is very traumatic and brutal.
Yeah. And only if we just spoke up more about it, or realize as a community of women that have been through the same thing, others that have overcome, others that have crumbled, and being able to share like you are, this platform that you've created now really empowers people and women to feel like someone else has gone through this. I'm not alone. I can reach out. I can speak to someone about this.
Yes.
Because like you say, the misconception is that we've gotten to where we are now, and it's just been a bed of roses all the way up.
It's been luck,
Rosy. And
you
luck.
got lucky.
Oh, you're so lucky.
You're so blessed. You're so lucky. When I travel, you're so lucky.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why is there a stereotype that I'm so lucky? Because you're not used to seeing women who look like me travel to Santorini.
Yes.
It looks weird for you. It looks shocking.
Yes.
You're in a state of shock. Why?
Yeah. It's a question of how. How are you able to do that, Kovani? They're just not asking the question how, but it is. It's about how are you able to do all of that?
And that's the stereotype I think we need to be dismantling in 2024, having these real conversations and, teaching people about microaggressions, which a lot of people are not even familiar with. Teaching them about gaslighting. Like I wish I had learned these things in school, how not to be manipulated, how to keep proper evidence, how to, not be tone policed. Because unfortunately, what I've just mentioned is what many women of color
definitely
struggle with. This is something that you've, experienced in your career, had to maneuver through.
Certainly. What have I not experienced in my career?
Yeah.
Certainly. Those are things that we experience, and being tone policed. Like I laugh when you say that, because I'm just like, why is it that when I put my foot down and I'm assertive, now you start attacking the tone of how I'm saying things.
Correct.
Or I didn't like your email, I didn't appreciate it. I'm like, never mind the tone that you're assuming from it. Did you hear what I said? That's the most important question.
And often the answer is no.
The answer is no.
The answer is like, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive. But I'm like, you're missing the point of what I'm saying. Why are you intentionally missing the point?
Yes. And it's because they don't, it's that, when they see a male from a black woman and they're asserting themselves, they immediately feel offended because you speak to them like that, because they don't expect to be spoken like that, right? And I'm like, but what are the facts of the email? What are the facts? Like, can we put tone aside? Can we address the facts of the email? They don't want to get to the facts, and so they kind of tiptoe around what it is you're saying to try and attack the way you're saying it and call you out on that, so that it kind of stops you from being vocal. It stops you from asserting yourself. It shrinks you, right? And so slowly but surely you start becoming a version of yourself that you can't identify after a couple of months.
Yes, I can't say that. Right? I'll be screamed at. I'll be shouted at. I'll be rudely attacked. So let me just, get into my shell and just do what's needed and keep quiet.
See? And that's why a lot of women, I think now, that are coming to me, it's a lot more about, I need to I need to figure out who I am again. Because conditions like that create opportunities where not even opportunities, but they create those situations that continue to just suffocate you until you're just there to do your job.
It's just manipulation. I think when I stand back and I look at it after spending many, many years and, working for some really amazing companies, it's the culture of a company that defines how they respond to things, right?
Definitely.
Because some companies do it amazingly.
Definitely.
They take certain things very seriously. They take complaints seriously. They act on it. There's action happening. So I think it is also about the culture of where you find yourself and whether that's something that you can fully align with.
Or not.
Or not.
But you'll never be able to get to the conclusion of that if you don't know yourself.
Correct. That's where it starts.
I mean? It starts
That's
there.
Where it starts.
It starts there.
That's the hardest part of the work.
That's the hardest part of the work. That's the work we don't want to do half the time, right? Starting with you is the essence of knowing whether the situation or an environment works for you or not. It's not about the paycheck. You can get a paycheck in another organization.
Correct.
It's about where are you valued? Where are you heard? Right? Where are you fully yourself? That's what matters.
That's amazing.
That's what matters.
Papale, thank you so much for joining us. I actually have goosebumps, guys, after this episode. It was fantastic. Before I let you go, I would like for you to leave us with a quote, something inspirational, that our community can hold on to for 2023 and beyond.
For me, don't wish it was easier. Wish that you were better.
Sure. Wow.
Situations will never change around you. Don't wait for them to change. Become better. The more you work on yourself, the more you work on your skill set, opportunities open up in aspects that you have not even begin to think about or to fathom. So don't go into 2024 not wishing that things were easier, but working actively on who you are.
Wow. Thank you so much for lending your voice to this podcast. Here's to many, many more. And I know that you've been part of the Boss Babe community from day one. And that is why I needed to have you on season 1 as well to share your voice. I think such an insightful conversation. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of women that are going to be reaching out to you for career coaching, advice, mentorship. And that's what the space is all about, for us to connect, people that need support, that need help. That's what platforms and that's what a sisterhood is all about.
Certainly. Thanks, Kovani.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate the time, appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much.